Biggest expected improvements between iPhone 17 Pro Max and iPhone 16 Pro Max. Depending on your opinion on the allegedly iPhone 17 Air, a comparison between an iPhone 17 Pro Max and an iPhone 16 Pro Max lets us assess possible changes to Apple's most premium phone. Although Apple's iPhone 17 range won't release until much later in 2025, several early rumors together with projected improvements have given us some idea of what is coming later this year. Thus, there is no time like the present to begin considering such modifications. Apple will also have to work hard to surpass the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which is not just the best iPhone to have released last autumn, but also the best phone overall from our tests. Apart from the exceptional performance and long battery life, Apple's most recent premium model also produces amazing images with its superb camera technology. It also supports the newest Apple Intelligence features, same as other iPhone 16 models. A new CPU running the iPhone 17 Pro Max should deliver enhancements in both performance and battery life. There are also whispers of new cameras for the Pro Max model. Meanwhile, Apple could be studying a possible redesign that would significantly transform the look of the phone compared to earlier iPhones. Here's a deeper look at how the iPhone 17 Pro Max versus iPhone 16 Pro Max matchup is shaping up at the moment, based on what we've learned so far about Apple's iPhone plans. iPhone 17 Pro Max versus iPhone 16 Pro Max price and availability. The iPhone 16 Pro Max starts at $1,199, making it the most premium model in Apple's inventory. That pricing matches the cost of the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which arrived with a $100 price bump from its predecessor. Ideally, the iPhone 17 Pro Max would cost the same as the iPhone 16 Pro Max too, but that might not be the case. An early iPhone pricing rumor claims iPhone 17 prices could be on the rise, though the rumor doesn't specify by how much or which models would be affected. There are two reasons to not stress about a potential rise. For starters, it's still early in the iPhone 17 rumor cycle, and pricing information really doesn't come into focus until right before the phone's launch. Secondly, if Apple does introduce an iPhone 17 Air, as has been generally speculated, that phone is currently projected to cost more than the Pro Max. You would suppose that might set a cap on how much Apple might charge for the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Availability for Apple's new phones is a little bit more evident. The iPhone 16 Pro Max launched with the rest of the iPhone 16 series back in September, Apple's usual month for revealing new phones. Barring any dramatic shakeup, you can pencil in a hypothetical iPhone 17 release for September 2025. While the iPhone 16 Pro Max resembled its predecessor in the broadest sense of the word, it did have a fairly big upgrade, a larger display. The 6.9-inch screen meant the iPhone 16 Pro Max was bigger, wider, and heavier than the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which sported a 6.7-inch panel. Otherwise, the iPhone 16 Pro Max was very recognizable as an Apple phone, with a dynamic island feature containing the front camera and Face ID sensors up front and a triangle camera array on the rear of the smartphone. The look of the iPhone 17 Pro Max might shake things up rather dramatically if predictions regarding Apple's design intentions prove accurate. The larger 6.9-inch screen size is expected to return, but the rear of the phone could wear a horizontal camera strip that extends across the smartphone, not unlike Google's recent Pixel flagships. That statement is based on a leaked photo that supposedly shows off the iPhone 17 Pro Max's frame. Speaking of frames, there's some dispute as to whether Apple will continue to employ titanium for the frames of its Pro phones or change to aluminum as a cost-saving tactic. Given how Apple touted the switch to titanium a couple years back, we don't buy the idea that the phone maker would alter course so rapidly, but it's something to keep in mind. While the iPhone 17 Pro Max's display size is projected to match the iPhone 16 Pro Max's, there could be another display modification in the works. One leaker expects Apple to turn to low dielectric T technology for this year's Pro model panels, a move that would make the displays more durable while boosting battery efficiency. Early color guesses for the iPhone 17 Pro indicate that teal titanium, green titanium, and dark green titanium could be on the agenda for this year's phones. Because the Pro and Pro Max check colors, we think the rumor applies to the iPhone 17 Pro Max too. However, Apple tends to have more muted color options for its Pro phones. The iPhone 16 Pro Max comes in black, white, desert, and natural titanium, so we wouldn't place too much weight on that allegation just yet. The iPhone 16 Pro Max received a pair of considerable enhancements to its camera setup, receiving a new 48 megapixels fusion camera as well as a 48 megapixels ultra-wide lens. The fusion camera performed faster than its predecessor, resulting in faster focus and no shutter lag. The ultra-wide camera introduced greater resolution than the 12 megapixels sensor Apple previously deployed. Expect those capabilities to return on the iPhone 17 Pro Max, with another potential modification coming to third rear camera on the next phone. Rumors claim Apple will debut a 48 megapixels telephoto camera, an increase from 12 megapixels, sensor that the iPhone 16 Pro Max utilizes for its zoom lens. There's no hint on whether that camera would boost the zoom length from the 5x optical zoom that the present iPhone gives. There's also talk of at least one of Apple's Pro models adding a variable aperture that photographers may handle with a mechanical device. This upgrade would provide you better control over the depth of field in your photographs. One other camera rumor would influence all iPhone 17 models, considering the true depth camera up front could get an update this fall. One analyst thinks the new phones would have a 24 megapixels camera compared to the 12 megapixels lens used by existing iPhones. Since new iPhones typically to feature upgraded silicon, we're expecting the iPhone 17 series to sport new A19 chipsets. In the case of the iPhone 17 Pro Max, that probably means an A19 Pro system on chip. It's unclear at this stage to forecast what kind of performance advantages an A19 processor would provide compared to the A18 Pro powering the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Initial reports suggested the A19 might be made on a 2nm technology, meaning its transistors would be packed closer together than the 3nm A18 system on chip. That usually translates to higher performance and less power utilization. However, news sources have suggested that the A19 will likewise be a 3nm system on chip. The iPhone 17 Pro Max could benefit from one speculated enhancement compared to the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Apple is likely to increase the RAM in its future phones with a focus on assisting improve artificial intelligence capabilities. That would mean 12 gigs of RAM in the iPhone 17 Pro Max, opposed to 8 gigs in the current model. Here's where the iPhone 17 Pro Max might have a hard time improving on the bar established by the iPhone 16 Pro Max, as the current model posted the greatest time of any iPhone we've ever put through our proprietary battery test. In that test, we have phones surf the web repeatedly over cellular until they run out of juice. The usual phone can hang around for a little more than 10 hours on that test, but the iPhone 16 Pro Max averaged 17 hours and 35 minutes. The A18 Pro chipset helped the iPhone 16 Pro Max place on the top phone battery life list, but the current model also gained from a larger battery than its predecessor. There aren't any rumors yet about what kind of battery the iPhone 17 Pro Max would employ, a part of a possibility that Apple may use a new glue to hold batteries in place, making them easier to change in the next models. One change we hope to see with the iPhone 17 Pro Max is an improvement to charging speeds. The iPhone 16 Pro Max continues to offer 30-watt cable charging, despite other phones have accepted significantly speedier speeds. By the time the iPhone 17 Pro Max appears, Apple will have introduced iOS 19. Of course, the identical software upgrade will be accessible to the iPhone 16 Pro Max, so there's likely to be no difference in the functions both phones provide. The same thing goes for Apple Intelligence. Apple might build some iPhone 17 specific ALA functions, much like visual intelligence, only works on iPhone 16 devices. But for the most part, the same AI functionalities supported on the iPhone 17 Pro Max will be able to run on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Assuming a September 2025 debut for the iPhone 17 Pro Max, we've got a lot of time for new rumors to arise. That should provide a clearer impression on what kind of changes to expect from an iPhone 17 Pro Max versus iPhone 16 Pro Max comparison. So stay tuned for additional details on the iPhone series, and feel free to share your expectations for this exciting new product in the comments below. See you in my future video. Goodbye.